am I comparing Kendrick Lamar and Drake to Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, right? Why am I comparing them to these two artists? Because with this lawsuit that Drake has filed, it is astounding just how wild this lawsuit is. And I'm going to break it down. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. This is Politic Graham that you're listening to. Now, this lawsuit was filed, like I stated, it was filed on Wednesday, January the 15th. Yes, Wednesday, January the 15th. And I want people to understand, Drake, this all started from Not Like Us, okay? I want to make sure we notate this. This started from Not Like Us, okay? Because from my idea, my perception of this whole thing, it seems as if it's fine when Drake dishes things out, right? It's fine when he dishes it out. But when somebody like Kendrick Lamar comes in and throws it back, now he wants to lawyer up. Now he wants to cry baby. I'm just going to be honest. Going to be honest. Because this is the same person. I'm just going to give one example with Drake. This is the same person as of last year. He reached out to Halle Berry. He reached out to Halle Berry to get her okay to use her picture of when there was slime covered on her face from a 2012 Nickelodeon award show, right? If you guys can remember that it was green slime on her face. He personally reached out to her, right? And she told him she didn't want him to use it. But what did he do? He went over her head. He reached out to Getty Images to get the clearance, and he went on ahead and did it. Now, this made Halle Berry very upset, so much upset. If you guys can remember, this happened last year, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, back in September. 2 years ago, back in September of 2023, right? And according to Halle Berry, she said that Drake used the slime photo without her permission. And this is why I made this clip. This is why I made this clip. Okay? And the clip that you're looking at, this is a clip that I actually put together, and Kendrick couldn't have said it better. This is a clip where Kendrick was speaking to graduates. And he said independent thinkers. And this goes out to not only just Drake. This not only goes out to Kendrick Lamar. This goes out to Halle Berry. What I'm about to say, this goes out to anybody. When you get to a certain point, right? You have to protect your brand. You have to protect your brand. And even if you're not just a quote unquote celebrity, right? Know your worth. Because guess what? When Halle Berry, she stated that she was upset with Drake because he used the slime photo without her permission. But guess what? She didn't own that photo. She didn't own it. She did not own that photo. Who owned it? Getty Images. If you have a say-so when you own it. That's when you have a say-so. And this is the predicament that Drake is in right now. This is the predicament that Kendrick Lamar is in right now. And what do I mean when I say what they're in right now? They're both getting played by Universal Music Group. I said it. They're both getting played. And what do I mean when I say they're both getting played? We're going to break it down with this quote unquote lawsuit that Drake filed, well, I say his attorneys filed a federal lawsuit against Universal Music Group. And where was this lawsuit filed? I cannot make this up. This lawsuit was filed in the same district that Diddy has his federal case, in the Southern District of New York. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up, ladies and gentlemen. My question is, what is Drake so afraid of? What is it that he is afraid of? I'm just trying to figure that out. But we're going to talk about it. Now, if you guys don't know, we're going to talk about it. Not Like Us was released May the 4th of last year by Kendrick Lamar in response to the huge feud that him and Drake have been having. And I will say this, Drake started this. Drake started this, right? He did. And just for people to understand this, not Like Us was a rebuttal to another diss track that Drake had put out. And what did Drake talk about? You spoke about Kendrick Lamar's family. You talked about his girlfriend, fiance. You talked about things that you just don't speak of. You don't. So I want to speak on, and what was this single called that Drake put out? He put out a single called Meet the Grams. I want people to understand that. This was the single that Kendrick Lamar put out against Drake. I'm sorry, that Kendrick Lamar put out against Drake, called Meet the Grams. So like I stated, Drake wants to talk about things and do things. And when someone like Kendrick Lamar comes his way that is more lyrical, right? Let's be honest, Kendrick Lamar is a better rapper when it comes down to lyrics. I've never heard of Kendrick Lamar having a ghostwriter. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of Kendrick Lamar personally having a ghostwriter. Now, with this lawsuit that was filed, according to Drake, he complains that UMG Recordings, or should I say the music group, he is speaking about a number of incidents. He speaks about a number of incidents in this lawsuit, and speaks how the song Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar itself has endangered his life. Not only endangered his life, it has, according to the lawsuit, all because of one song. Drake mentioned that he doesn't feel safe. Not only does he not feel safe, he says that he has to protect his own security team. Remember what I just said. He said he doesn't feel safe. He doesn't feel safe for his family. He doesn't feel safe for his friends, his associates. And last but not least, he doesn't feel safe for his own security team. Think about that. One song, and with technology can cause a huge consequence. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. I'm going back into the comments. Thank you guys. I'm reading the comments. Cannon Sanders says, when labels try to get away with these things, there was a lawyer involved in the first place. Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to highlight. I'm reading the comments. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming in. Now, I want people to understand this. This comes from two gentlemen, and I wish, and when I read this 81 page, yes, this is an 81 page filing, 81 pages, okay, and I cannot believe the levels, the extreme, okay, that people have gone, right? People have gone. It's just astounding. Now, this lawsuit, this filing starts off by saying at 2 a.m., 2 a.m. in the middle of the night on May the 7th of 2024. Now, I want people to understand this. Not Like Us was released May the 4th. So just 3 days after Kendrick Lamar releases the song called Not Like Us on May the 7th at 2 a.m. It states an armed group of assailants drove to Drake's Toronto's mansion. Okay? Drove to his mansion in Toronto. And it alleges they drove while Drake was inside the house as well as his family. It also goes on to say the car stopped in front of the residence and someone yelled out of the car, F, F Drake. And at least one person began to open, pop, I'll say it that way, pop, causing a security guard to end up going to the hospital. This is on May the 7th, 3 days after Not Like Us was released. This was the first incident. The first incident. And a security guard got injured. Now, before the security guard was taken to the hospital, they say this car drove away, and that's when Drake and others in Drake's house, summoned for help, for additional security. Okay? And that's when they did all they could to help this security guard to stay alive. And that's when they waited 30 minutes. 30 minutes for the ambulance to arrive. And according to this is all in the lawsuit. The security guard stayed in the hospital for days and he survived. He survived. This was the first incident. The first incident. They further go on to say, in addition to one of Drake's security guards getting injured on May the 7th, so much to the point he had to go to the hospital, also on the same day in London, United Kingdom, Drake's clothing store was vandalized with graffiti. Someone sprayed, "They Not Like Us." And according to the lawsuit, it stated that the graffiti was likely viewed by hundreds of people passing by. This is all on May the 7th of last year, May the 7th. These are two incidents now. I just told you Drake's security guard got injured. They had to take the security guard to the hospital because a car drove up in front of Drake's mansion in Toronto while Drake was at the house with his family, 2 o'clock in the morning. And on the same day, in another country, London, United Kingdom, outside of Drake's clothing store, someone sprayed "They Not Like Us." May the 8th comes up. Oh, it's not over. It's not over. May the 8th comes up. A different intruder approaches Drake's Toronto mansion. So we have another person intruding. And this particular person managed to dig deep enough to squeeze under Drake's property. This is on May the 8th. May the 8th. And it says, fortunately, Drake's home security guards caught the trespasser and while they caught this trespasser, according to the lawsuit, yelled out racial phrases and statements, slurs, threats against Drake before being escorted off the property. May the 9th comes up. There's another attempt of a break-in at Drake's mansion in Toronto. Another attempt. This is all within 2 days. All within 2 days. So May the 9th comes up. There's another trespasser. This time, the trespasser got into a physical altercation with Drake's security guards before being taken away by police. Oh, this trespasser that came on May the 9th that got in an altercation with security guards that they had sent away with the police. Oh, they came back on May the 11th. They came on back. Now, this is how this 81-page filing of the lawsuit Drake's attorney submitted Wednesday of this week, January the 15th, and they submitted it in the same district that Diddy is currently waiting to have his trial, May the 5th, in the Southern District in New York. You cannot make this up. Now, according to Drake, he states that he has been an icon for 20 years. This is what his attorneys are saying. He's been an icon for 20 years. Okay? And stated that with him being so famous for 20 years, him and his family has never encountered incidents like what has transpired since last year. So Drake is coming on that level. Drake is saying, even with all the years I've been an icon, famous, I've never endured or encountered anything such as this. So, and the reason I'm speaking on this is why I'm comparing Kendrick Lamar and Drake to Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur. Now I'm going to be honest. Drake is nowhere near a Tupac or Biggie, okay? Because if anybody can know, how Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls would have responded, right? I'm just going to be honest. Because if Kendrick Lamar would have came with the lyrics that he came with, we all know what Biggie would have came back with. Let's just be honest, right? But Drake is not about that life. He's not. So his way of dealing with matters is taking it to court. And in this lawsuit, like I stated, his attorneys want to make sure that it is known that this is nothing against Kendrick Lamar. This is strictly against Universal Music Group. Why? Because both of them are under Universal Music Group. And this is why I'm saying they're both getting played. They're both getting played. How are they getting played? Because when it comes down to UMG, this is what shocked me out of all of this. This is what shocked me out of all of this. Drake allegedly his net worth is $275 million. Kendrick Lamar's net worth allegedly is $75 million. How in the heck is it they don't own their catalog? According to Drake, in this filing, UMG owns all of Kendrick Lamar's back catalog. And also, according to Drake in this lawsuit, he doesn't even own his own catalog either. This is why I say they're both getting played. Who played Biggie Smalls? Diddy. Who played Tupac Shakur? Suge Knight. You guys don't know who Suge Knight is? Suge Knight was the owner of then Death Row Records, the record label that Tupac Shakur was under. And Biggie Smalls was under Diddy's label, Bad Boy. And this is why I say they're both getting played. Everybody's getting played. The only people that's making money in this is UMG. So I looked up UMG and I said, well, how much is UMG worth? How much is UMG worth? And when I looked UMG up, it's allegedly worth, wait a minute, 47.38 billion American dollars. Cannon Sanders says, where did all the music Michael Jackson owned move to after he was unalive? Well, that's a good question, Cannon. That's a good question. Because when it comes down to Michael Jackson, that is why his children, well, one of them, Blanky, if you guys know who Blanky is the child that was the youngest that Michael Jackson had. He was in a lawsuit recently with Michael Jackson's mother. Why? Because Michael Jackson's mother wanted to sell, yes, I said sell some of Michael Jackson's catalog So this is why I say, what is independence? What is really the definition of independence? Because even when it comes down to Michael Jackson, right? He did all of this, and Cannon Sanders asked a good question. Where did all the music go? Where did all the music go? Who owns it? Who owns it? Because if people can think back with Michael Jackson, I gotta give, let's be honest. He bought, he made people mad. Michael Jackson made a lot of people mad because he outsmarted people. If you guys can remember, one of the people that he took music from without them knowing until the last minute was one of the singers, and I want to make sure I get his name right. I want to make sure I get his name right, because Michael Jackson, he purchased publishing rights to the majority of the Beatles catalog, which was over 251 songs. So Michael Jackson knew the game, but even after all he did, even after all what Michael Jackson did, and he's no longer here now, the bulk was left to his mother, who is still alive. And this is what happens when you have people play you. And when I say play you, his mother is in the position. I don't know if the lawsuit is still going on, but one of the children filed the lawsuit to try to stop Michael Jackson's mother from selling some of his catalog. Now, when it comes down to Drake and Kendrick Lamar, they don't own any of their catalog. They don't own any of it. And it's really sad, because Drake, according to the lawsuit, has been getting all of these threats, attacks, and this is within, according to him, within a week of Not Like Us being released. Because remember what I said, Not Like Us was released May the 4th, and between May the 7th and May the 11th, Drake's home was attacked, intruded. His store in London was vandalized. His security guard had to get sent to the hospital after being injured at Drake's Toronto home. It has gotten so bad, according to Drake in the lawsuit, he has to remove his son and his son's mother out of Canada altogether. Altogether. This is how bad it has gotten. Now, I'm going to keep it brief because, like I stated, this was an 81-page. This is an 81-page federal filing. Drake submitted, his lawyer submitted on Wednesday in New York against UMG. And it is astounding to me. And yes, you guys, thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. This is Politigram that you're listening to. And thank you guys for coming in. Yes, you don't want to go against Getty Images. Don't want to go against Getty Images. And thank you guys for coming in. And please be respectful. Shout out to Narendra. Now, back to this filing. In this lawsuit, the lawsuit blames UMG for approving, publishing, and launching a campaign to create the rap song that Kendrick Lamar rapped called Not Like Us and released that would make money. And according to this lawsuit, UMG allowed its artist Kendrick Lamar to create a rap song that stated false accusations of Drake being a PED. I have to say it that way. I have to say it that way for YouTube purposes. A P, as they say, for being a P, and calling on an act of violence against Drake. Also, he states in this lawsuit, UMG shareholders, he's claiming that the shareholders of UMG as well as UMG, he's suing them because according to Drake, they have been exploiting Drake's music for years. Been exploiting his music for years, and UMG knew these allegations. UMG knew, and please do not spam this chat. Please do not spam this chat. And thank you guys for coming in, but please do not spam this chat. And thank you guys for coming in. Thank you so much for coming in. Now, like I stated, when it comes down to this actual lawsuit, I told you guys, Drake says he has never encountered this before. And just how bad has it gotten? It's gotten so bad that he's alleging that UMG has paid radio stations, platforms to play Not Like Us. Yes, and shout out to Narendra. Yes, please, no spamming. No spamming in the chat. Further on in this lawsuit, it says UMG anticipated that extending Drake's contract would be costly and used Not Like Us song as a way to devalue Drake's music and brand, and to force Drake to sign a new deal on terms that would be more favorable and cheaper for UMG. Now, for those who don't know, Drake had extended his contract with UMG in 2022. And this is the year that Drake is supposed to be renewing his contract with UMG. And this is why in this lawsuit, Drake's attorneys are alleging that this was pre-planned. This was pre-planned to find a way to not offer Drake so much this time. And what was the amount allegedly in regards to Drake? $400 million as far as what his brand to the company UMG would be worth. And Narendra says Drake's first name is Aubrey. Isn't that a girl? I'm not gonna do. Shout out to Narendra. Now, I want people to understand with this lawsuit, Drake is making a number of serious allegations. Serious allegations. Because he's alleging that UMG knew what was going on because they were trying to find a way to devalue his brand so they wouldn't offer him so much moving forward in regards to a new contract. And Drake's attorneys allege that Not Like Us, the song, is defamatory in both its lyrics as well as its video. According to them, the lyrics repeatedly accuse Drake of engaging in criminal acts and needs to be quote unquote placed on neighborhood watch. They allege that Drake, because of Not Like Us, has been compared to Diddy and Jeffrey. Unfortunately. The lawsuit further claims that Kendrick Lamar owns none of his catalog and instead is owned by Interscope Records, who all will make money. And Interscope Records is under whom? UMG. Because of UMG's contract with Drake was nearing fulfillment, the lawsuit claims UMG anticipated that extending Drake's contract would be costly and used Not Like Us song as a way to quote unquote, what did I say? Devalue Drake's music. It also says UMG used every tool at its disposal to ensure that the world would hear that Drake, quote unquote, like I'm young, quote unquote. This is all in the lawsuit. And also states material has been played, Not Like Us, has been played billions of times, and its false central message has gone viral in dozens of languages worldwide, at a minimum of hundreds of millions of people spanning the globe. It is not just fans of the rap music who now believe Drake is a certified P, as they say. UMG used its promotional resources and exclusive licensing rights to place the recording on numerous national televised events, including but not limited to award shows, national political events. And thank you guys for coming in. The Richard says support this channel for is highly appreciated. Yes, please support the channel. Thank you guys for coming in. Please like the channel, subscribe to the channel. Cannon says I would go by Drake too if my mama named me Aubrey. And thank you guys for coming in. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going into highlighting. I'm highlighting the different comments that has been coming in. My apologies. And shout out to CNN TV. Thank you for coming in. Now, I want people to really sit back and think about everything that has been going on. Everything that has been going on. Who's making the money? Who is making the money? And it's really sad that it's not the artist that's making the money. Who's making the money? The labels. That's who's making the money. They're making the money. Because remember what I just told you. UMG allegedly is worth $44 billion. Allegedly. Now, back into this lawsuit. According to the lawsuit, it says UMG has made significant financial investments via sophisticated and highly organized publicity campaign to arrange for the recording to be performed at one of the most significant cultural events of the year, the Super Bowl. Here we go. And if you guys know, the Super Bowl is being held where? In Louisiana. Who is over the Super Bowl when it comes down to performances? One of the key people, Jay-Z. And it's alleged that Jay-Z was the one that made the decision to have Kendrick Lamar be the halftime performer this year for the Super Bowl. UMG's business is to possess the exclusive rights. This is according to the lawsuit now. Back into the lawsuit. The lawsuit says UMG's business is to possess the exclusive rights to produce, reproduce, distribute, and to license music, including over the internet. In other words, it is only with UMG's explicit approval the defamatory material could have been released in the first instance. Now, I don't know if you guys know this. Now, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Now, when it comes down to Not Like Us, this song under YouTube, right? And people who didn't know, now you know. I'm going to break it down. Under YouTube, YouTube is one of the online platforms that UMG allows people to actually play the music as far as giving reactions and not get a quote unquote copyright. Allegedly, according to the lawsuit, allegedly. And it is some other, and he mentions a number of other platforms, and I'm speaking of this because he's basically saying that this was UMG's way of promoting this particular song, pushing it out. As far as spreading it. Now, back into the lawsuit, it says UMG made sure that Not Like Us broke through the noise. For one, UMG took the unprecedented step, contrary to its internal practices, to remove the recording's copyright restrictions. Here we go. to remove the recording's copyright restrictions on YouTube, Twitch, thereby whitelisting the recording to ensure content creators would republish it. Think about that. Going to read this part one more time. UMG, they went out of their way to remove the recording's copyright restrictions on YouTube and Twitch. Offering financial incentives to third parties to deceptively stream the recording on streaming platforms. To play the song on the radio and to otherwise promote and endorse defamatory material, all without ever publicly disclosing the payments. So Drake is saying this song has made so much money, Kendrick probably doesn't even know how much. Drake is saying, not only does my team not even know how much, but Kendrick Lamar probably doesn't even know how much Not Like Us has even made. That's why I say they're all getting played. They're all getting played. Now, here goes the effect. How has this affected Drake? Now, in this lawsuit, they further on, they say Drake himself allegedly has been harmed financially. And remember what I said, net worth, this is alleged. Now, this part allegedly, Drake's net worth, from what I looked up, this didn't say it in the lawsuit, but from what I looked up, allegedly, Drake's net worth is $275 million. So how is it in this lawsuit, his attorneys are saying that their client, Drake, has been harmed financially, all because of one song called Not Like Us? Then they say millions of people who listened to this song or who saw the images and the video, they actually have started to believe the defamatory material is true. UMG had previously published Lamar's song, Euphoria, which was also widely understood to be targeted at Drake, and which stated, "Don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truth about you." Now, here it goes when it comes down to the comparisons of Diddy. They're talking about Diddy. In this lawsuit, they speak of Diddy. You cannot make this up. In the lawsuit, they say Drake has received a number of negative speeches calling him an offender. I'll say it that way, calling him the P. Public commentary has been repeating false claims against Drake as being a quote unquote P, a quote unquote offender, and also comparing him to Weinstein, Diddy, and Epstein. Now, this is in the lawsuit. And if you guys can go back and remember, Jay-Z had to get his attorneys, okay? Because one of Diddy's accusers tried to put him in a lawsuit. And what is it that Jay-Z did? Jay-Z hurried on up. Jay-Z hurried on up and made multiple statements stating that this is not true. And even so much to the point, His attorney, Alex Sparrow, did a whole presentation, 30-minute presentation, showing that his client, Jay-Z, was nowhere near where this accuser, who is still a Jane Doe, this accuser stated that she was, let's just say, Jay-Z, according to her, Jay-Z and Diddy did something to her. We'll say it that way. And that is why Jay-Z hurried on up and said, no, 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 you're not going to put me in this Diddy mess. Because look what I just read to you guys in regards to what is going on with Drake. Drake saying, I have been financially affected. I have to provide security for my own security team. Then he says in the lawsuit, I had to move my child and my child's mother out of Canada altogether. Then I forgot to even mention this. When it comes down to Drake's son, Drake said he had to take him out of school. He had to change his child's whole life. All because, just think about it, you guys, all because of this going back and forth with Kendrick. And according to Drake, Drake says, well, this is not about Kendrick. This is about UMG releasing Not Like Us. And not only releasing it, but whitelisting the song. This is all according to Drake's attorney. So Jay-Z said, I don't want, he saw it. He saw it a mile away. He said, wait a minute, this accuser trying to connect me with Diddy back in 2000. I'm finna hurry up and make multiple statements. I'm gonna hire this lawyer, this team. And not only I'm gonna hire this lawyer and team to refute what this person is stating, but in Jay-Z's case, he's allegedly suing Tony Busby, the attorney that's representing the accuser that has accused Jay-Z and Diddy of doing something to her when she was 13, back in 2000. And Jay-Z said, I have too much to lose. I have too much to lose. So Jay-Z hurried up. Drake, on the other hand, Drake is now in a position, according to him, he says, I have been financially harmed. My family has been affected. My security team has been harmed multiple times. And now the fans, people are comparing me. They're putting me in the same box as Diddy, Weinstein, and Epstein. They're putting me in the same boxes. So much to the point, in the lawsuit, they're saying flyers have been plastered all over Toronto. And they're comparing Drake to a Canadian YouTuber who was sentenced to 3 years of prison time for SA. So this is what Drake's team is stating is going on. This is what's going on. And now, where are we? Drake says, according to his attorneys, Drake continues to take steps to address persistent threats to his security and stated that when Drake tried to address it to UMG, they took it light. They took it light. And furthermore, they mentioned a person who is connected with UMG named Sir Garage. And when it comes down to Sir Garage, they tried to connect Sir Garage with, here we go, Diddy. And they're stating that Sir Garage, he was in a situation where he had to speak up as well, like Jay-Z. And why did Drake mention this guy? Because he said when a situation came into Sir Garage lap of a similar situation, when it came down to allegations, right? He said, well, they hurried up and did something. Hurried up. But Drake says when Drake confronted UMG about how UMG has been promoting allegations of misconduct, UMG refused to do anything to help. Instead, UMG continued to republish and promote defamatory material, even after Drake had unequivocally denied the allegations in public. How did Drake do it? Drake, after Not Like Us, Drake released a song. And in his rap song, he stated these are false allegations. So Drake is basically saying, I've done everything that I could do. I've tried to do everything that I can do on my end. But at this point, my hands are in the air. And now I have been forced to sue WMG. I can't do anything else. Now, when it comes down to licensing rights, remember I said that according to Drake, UMG allowed certain streaming outlets or platforms to play the music without getting a copyright. Now here is the list. Here is the list. Because Drake, back in November, he filed a disposition in Texas against iHeartRadio. And why did he file this disposition? Because he wanted to know, is it true that UMG paid iHeartRadio to play Not Like Us? Now, publishing. I already told you YouTube got the quote unquote white license, right? So anybody that plays Not Like Us on YouTube, it's alleged that you're not going to get a copyright. Me, I don't even want to try it. I don't even want to catch it on this platform. I don't even want to play like that. But according to the lawsuit, they say YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio. I mean, this list is wild. It's wild. So Drake's attorneys stated that since this song, Not Like Us, publication, the recording has made has streamed globally more than 990 million times on Spotify alone. I repeat, on Spotify alone, Not Like Us has streamed 990 million times. So this is why Drake is saying all these people are listening to this one song and now they are affiliating me with Diddy. They're affiliating me with Diddy. And he even says with the marketing, the cover of the album has Drake's home. The view of Drake's Toronto home. And it states that it includes identifying information in regards to the location of his home, and it's covered. You guys know, it looks like he's a quote unquote alleged offender. They also state, as of the date of this filing, which was Wednesday, UMG's original publications of Not Like Us and Image still remain available. So they're basically saying nothing has been done. Nothing has been done. And in this page, in this 81-page filing, they're showing all of the different pictures. And I will show it maybe in the next live when I talk on the political side, the politics. But they're showing, I mean, everything. Now, June the 9th, 2024, they mentioned how Interscope reposted a tweet bragging that Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us has become the fastest rap song to reach 300 million Spotify. And that was on June the 9th. In only 35 days. 35 days. June the 20th, it says that UMG posted photos and videos to its official Instagram account of Lamar performing Not Like Us at a pop-out concert. And with the caption, history was made. July the 15th of last year, 2020-24, Interscope reposted two X posts regarding a fan's creation of a Not Like Us video. So they're mentioning all of these different things to even show that, you know, this has gotten out of hand. This has really gotten out of hand. And guess who else they mentioned? Now they're gonna call out some YouTubers. They're gonna call out specific YouTube channels. And you guys know one of the people that they call out, here we go, Kai Cenat. They said that streamer Kai posted a 20-minute video of his reaction to Not Like Us on his YouTube channel, which has 11.6 million subscribers. The video's thumbnail depicts the image. As to date of this filing, the video has over 9 million views. Can't make this up. You can't. And thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate you guys being so patient, but I had to talk about it. Going into the comments, the Ranger says, I saw that all those alleged Diddy parties were held by Drake, and poor Diddy is in prison. Oh no, not prison. Not prison. And thank you guys for coming in. Thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to Point. Point says Kai's reaction was funny. And see, this is what is going on. And this is why Drake is saying this is out of control. This is why Drake is saying it's going out of control. Because shout out to Point in the chat. Point said it. Kai's reaction was funny. And thank you guys for coming in. Cannon says California fair plan of 2020. Oh, no. That's not funny. But I will say this. When it comes down to what is going on, this should be a lesson to us all, because even in regards to Diddy, because yes, there is an update with Diddy. Now, I will say, remember what I said. Wednesday, Drake filed an 81-page lawsuit that I read. I gave you guys a brief to, right? A brief. But when it comes down to Diddy, his attorneys, they recently filed a motion this week as well. Yes, they recently filed a motion on them as well. And according to Diddy's attorneys, they filed a motion in regards to the videos, the number of videos that the prosecution team has against Diddy. Because if you guys can remember that I stated a while ago, when Diddy homes were raided in Miami and in California, when his homes were raided, they found, or should I say they have, over 130 cell phones. And one of the witnesses that they have, a gentleman, remember I told you, he has alleged hard drives of video footages at these quote unquote Diddy parties. And as you guys may know, that there will be a trial. The official start of the trial will be May the 5th of this year in regards to Diddy's case. Yes, in regards to Diddy's case, you cannot make this up. And the motion was filed. Want to make sure I'm accurate for you guys. A motion was filed this week, and in regards to the motion, his team that filed it on Tuesday, they claim that the key evidence that the prosecution team alleged that they have videos of these quote unquote alleged things going on at the parties, according to Diddy's team, they only show consensual between willing adults. This is what the motion that was filed on Tuesday this week. So they're basically, filing this motion to kind of give everybody heads up. Well, May the 5th, the trial starts, but we're going to let you guys know the videos, what they say they have, they don't have anything. They're stating that the prosecution team, this is what Diddy's team is calling the prosecution team. Diddy's team is calling the prosecuting of the federal, saying that they are prudes. They are prudes, because nothing on any of those videos, those footages, is nothing anybody else has done. It is only consensual events between willing adults. That is the motion that was filed this Tuesday. And further on, they say any fair-minded viewer of the videos will quickly conclude that the prosecution of Combs is both sexist and prudish. And they say this because the government's theory perpetrates stereotypes of female victimhood and lack of agency. Now, this is what they're stating in their motion. This is what Diddy's team is stating in their motion that they filed Tuesday. And they further on say that the videos do not depict anything, and there are no secret cameras. There are no secret cameras. There are no minors or other celebrities involved. This is what Diddy's team filed a motion and stated Tuesday of this week. And I think it's kind of odd that the very next day after Diddy's team filed the motion, here comes Diddy here comes Drake right behind. The very next day, on Wednesday, January the 15th, he files an 81-page against UMG, stating that I have been defamed, and I am not a Diddy. I have lost money. So it's like poor Diddy. I mean, I'm sorry, poor Drake. Poor Drake. Drake is making it seem as if, I want people to understand this. He is allegedly worth $275 million. But he, in this lawsuit, said, I have been hurt financially. I have been hurt. And not only have I been hurt financially myself, my family safety has been hurt. My security team safety has been hurt. All because of the actions of UMG. And UMG not handling the actions of publishing, or should I say not publishing, because according to Drake's attorneys, based off of this 81-page, Drake said UMG should have not even released Not Like Us song. But remember what I said to you guys in this live. Is this Drake's karma? Because if you guys can remember all the things that Drake has said in songs, all the things that Drake has done behind the scenes, so much as recently as of 2 years ago, when he personally reached out to Halle Berry, who he had openly said he had a crush on. He personally reached out to Halle Berry to get her approval to use her picture of getting slimed, right? And when she told him she didn't want him to use it, he went on ahead and did it anyway. He went on ahead over her head and reached out to Getty Images. So this is where we are right now. So this is why I asked, is this karma for Drake? Is this karma? And not only is this karma for Drake, is this karma for Diddy? Because you guys know how Diddy, people have said Diddy was not the best when it comes down to caring for his artists. He wasn't the best. And he wasn't a good businessman, allegedly. And even by the video that was leaked out, he wasn't the best partner, considering how or what he did to Cassie Ventura in that infamous video. So this is why you have to be careful how you move, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm reading the comments right now. KP, thank you for coming in. John says, this is why karma is upon us. Yes, this is why you have to move a certain way, ladies and gentlemen. Christian says, learn your facts, KP. What is going on in here? Christian says, learn your facts, KP, before saying something. Whoa, whoa. KP said, MJ had a whole amusement park in his backyard as a grown man. Christian says, UMG is Drake and Kendrick. What? Well, Christian, that is what I was saying. But we have to understand, right? It's the other way around, because Drake and Kendrick, they are under UMG. Why? Because according to this lawsuit, Drake and Kendrick, they don't own their catalog. They don't. Christian, what are you talking about in this live? Christian says that is not true. Michael Jackson's dad isn't Joe Jackson. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I cannot repeat that. What are you talking about, Christian? And thank you guys for commenting. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you wish, you can donate a sticker to support the channel. Now, I will say this, okay? When it comes down to Christian says politic, you are right about that. And this is why I say you have to move careful. You have to move a certain way. You have to move a certain way, because if you don't, this is what comes. And when I say this is what comes, it is sad that these multimillionaires who have met all of these people in the industry and been all over the world, they have not taken the time or invested the time to own their own catalog. And now they're in a position where they're getting played like puppets by UMG. Why? Because UMG, they're the ones making the money. They're the ones making the money. And I'm going to be honest. If this is true that Kendrick Lamar is allegedly only worth, and I'm going to say only because Kendrick Lamar is very talented. Kendrick Lamar is worth $75 million, but I'm going to be honest. He is way more of a better rapper, lyric artist than Drake. He should be worth way more than $75 million. Way more. But according to Drake in this lawsuit, Drake says Kendrick Lamar allegedly, this is what this is indirectly. Kendrick Lamar probably doesn't even know how much UMG has made off that one song, Not Like Us. And this is why you have to move a certain way. You have to move a certain way. Now, thank you guys for coming in. Now, I will say this. When it comes down to the quotes, I always give quotes. Now, I don't know, Christian. I'm reading what you're saying, Christian, now. The Ranger says, I believe you, Christian. I don't know. Look, I'm going to go back up to read this. And hello, shout out Shout out to That Green Vegan. Thank you so much. That Green Vegan says, thank you for spreading the truth. Yes. And thank you. Yes, I try to give truth. I try to give receipts and facts. And anybody that comes on this platform, I welcome all. And this is why I say, Christian, I'm going to go back to what you said, Christian, but I don't know, Christian. I don't know, Christian. But shout out to Green Vegan. Christian says, I'm going to go back. I'll read what Christian said. I'll be fair. I will be fair what Christian said. Shout out to Green Vegan. Christian says, you can't believe either the media and the street will both lie. And you're absolutely right, Christian. You can't, because look what has happened. Look what has all happened in California. Look what has happened. And I will say this. I'll add a little bit of heavy politics around the end. I will say this, but I'll add more on it when I talk about the heavy politics in the next live. But I will say this. If anybody has been watching these confirmation hearings this week, right? Anybody has been watching these confirmation hearings, one thing I noticed, and you guys can let me know if I'm wrong, but they have not really spoken about the safety when it comes down to these schools here in America. And why am I mentioning that? Because the state that I live in, the mental health. Two things I wish they could have spoke about when it came down to these senators questioning Donald Trump's picks, right? I wish the House of Senate would have questioned when it came down to the safety of the crime here in America. Also, when it comes down to mental health. When it comes down to mental health. Why? Because the state that I live in, here in Georgia, okay, this happened this week. Two things happened this week. A middle school. We had another incident here in Georgia. A little girl, a middle school. Okay? Let's just say she went to the middle school and she is no longer here. I will say it that way. Mental health is real. Mental health is real. Also this week here in Georgia, it is a very popular location, Stone Mountain. A gentleman went up the Stone Mountain and start doing things so much to the point a large team of officers had to come to Stone Mountain. All I'm going to say to that is mental health is real. It is. It is real. And I want Kendrick Lamar, I want Drake, and I want these artists, and especially these music labels, to be very conscious and aware of the music they put out. Because you have people listening. And maybe you can be a voice for somebody who feel like they don't have anybody to talk to, or they feel like they are tired of hearing and seeing certain things. Norm says mental health is a choice. That Green Vegan says, oh no, I love Stone Mountain. That's scary. And this is why I say I wish that these artists please wake up, and also the House of Senate, even the Congress. This is what we need to focus on. These are things we need to focus on. We need to focus on what really affects people in the real world. Because I'm telling you right now, and Drake with his lawsuit, he can say that he is financially affected, but I'm telling you right now, Drake has enough money where he was able to relocate his son and his son's mother. But I am tired. I am tired of hearing little teenagers, little kids feeling like they don't have a voice and having mental health. And you have these artists, you have Congress, you have these people. They can do so much more. And not only mental health, okay, because Norm, shout out to Norm. Norm says, in their opinion, mental health is a quote unquote choice. But my thing at this point is healthcare should not be a choice, right? Home insurance should not be a choice, right? Why do I say that? Because you have so many people in California, their claims were, I'm sorry, their insurance dropped them 2 months prior to the wildfires. I promise you this, ladies and gentlemen, Drake doesn't have those type of problems. I promise you that. Problem is, what's going on out in California? You have people in California, they have lost everything. Their home was everything. They didn't have options, right? They didn't have options like Kendrick Lamar, like Drake, like Jay-Z. Heck, Diddy, I don't even think Diddy house out there in California was affected. And Diddy's locked up in New York. So my prayers goes out to California, and I wish the House of Senate, I'm going to talk about it because I was very disappointed and I'm going to call these senators out in Alex. I'm going to call you by your first name, Alex. I'm going to call you by your first name, Adam. That Green Vegan says they are putting stuff in the food. Shout out to Vegan. Now, I want people to really sit back and think about, these are things, people don't really talk about. And thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it so much. Shout out to everybody that has came into this live. I'm going to read my quotes that I always say at the end. But today's quote, I will say this. I'm going to read it. And if you guys know who I got the quote from, you'll know. It's a long quote. And it goes like this. Your opinion of me is not the opinion that I have of myself. God established me, so there is nothing that you can do to break me. Once again, your opinion of me is not the opinion that I have of myself. God established me, so there is nothing you can do to break me. Thank you guys for coming in. And also, I want to make sure I go down this list. Shout out to the vegan once again. Shout out to Christian. Thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to KP. Shout out to Cannon Sanders. Thank you so much for coming in, Cannon. Shout out to Narendra. Narendra said it best. Guys, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much for coming in. Cannon Sanders says 11% of UMG ownership is public. Go buy stock. And see, this is why I tell people you have to think about independence. You have to think about that word independence. Shout out to Cannon. Shout out to Cannon Sanders, said it best. Buy stock. Put yourself in a position. Put yourself in a position where you're not looking like, I got to be honest, where you're not looking like Drake, where you're not looking like Kendrick Lamar. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't care how good the song is. And Not Like Us is a great song. But I will say this. If you don't own it, guess what? You're getting played. Cannon Sanders says, Graham, a lot of people depend on a lawyer to take care of their money. Yes, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And to even add on to what Cannon Sanders said, when I took an accounting class in school, my teacher was an accountant, and he actually said, an accountant is so good, accountant can be so good, they can make your bank account appear as if it has a lot of money in it, $200,000 in it, and you really only have $1 in it. This is why you have to move a certain way. And thank you guys for coming in. I will read the last set of quotes that I always do at the end of my live. I appreciate it. Shout out to Cannon. Shout out to the Green Vegan. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to Northern Dame. Thank you guys for coming in, going up. Shout out to everybody that has came into this live. I appreciate it. Shout out to Gary. Shout out to CN News. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming in. Now, last but not least, you guys know I always read these last set of motivation quotes. I always read it at the end of every live. Rule number 1, tell yourself. Eliminate the if. Focus on the present. Rule number 2, focus on self, not others. Rule number 3, tell yourself, I will learn something new every day. Rule number 4, tell yourself, I will not get upset at what I don't have control of. And last but not least, advocate for yourself. Because if you don't advocate for yourself, who will speak up for you? And thank you guys for coming in. Narendra says, Ayo Politic, on behalf of all accountants, including me, stop spilling out beans in the public. Shout out to Narendra. Thank you so much, you guys. KP says, I remember in the 90s, we got music right out the artist's hand. And they still do it. And they still do it. And thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to DJ Steady Will. And always remember, always have a peace of mind. I'll say it again. Always have a peace of mind and always be in peace. This is Politic Graham. Thank you guys for coming in. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Oh, I might do a live. I might do another live this evening, but if I don't, I promise you guys. I promise. I repeat. I promise it will be a live. If it's not today, in the evening, later on today, in the evening on Eastern time, around 6 o'clock or after 6 o'clock p.m., it will be another live tomorrow, Saturday. Okay? So, yes, I will be coming back. I promise, though. I'm not going to look. I promise. And thank you guys for coming and supporting me. Shout out to you guys and shout out to that Green Vegan.